Welcome! Today we're going to talk about grading the Nashville Predators during the pause. Now before we get started, I just want to ask you to please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, which will alert you when my next video comes out, which will be about the Montreal Canadiens. Now the last team I graded was the New Jersey Devils there. I've been shooting these videos in reverse alphabetical order, and I'll throw up some of those clubs near the top here over the next few minutes so you can check those out if you like. Now, the Predators! Oh my god. It was such an awful Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. I promise I won't do it again. Where is this team? Where are they going right now? It seems like they're going sideways, maybe even falling. Now, of course, they traded Subban in the offseason to make some room from Duchesne. That was supposed to help the goals for and the power play. And they also brought in a power play specialist from the WHL. And of course, they fired the coach midway through the season, but they've kind of bounced back a bit before we hit the pause. So there's that. Now, in terms of how their whole season has gone, they started off extremely well. With they were 8-3-2 in October, and then they had an awful November. Their December and January were okay. That's when Peter Laviolette got fired. They brought in John Hines, and the team improved. They had a good February, March for the most part, and it's helped them to get in that last wild card spot at the moment. So now they actually won their last 3 games of the season. They were 6-3-1 in the last 10. Right now they sit with 78 points. In the Western Conference, they're in that last wild card spot, as I mentioned already. They're tied with Vancouver, though, who is below them in the standings only because they beat them all 3 times so far this season. Minnesota Wild are only 1 point behind them, though, and they have the same played games. It's far from over. They cannot afford to come back after this pause if they do play a regular season and not hit full throttle, really. Now, when it comes to those, trades that they made, we all know they traded Subban in the summertime. But another trade they made with the Tampa Bay Lightning was acquiring goalie Connor Ingram, and they gave us up a 7th round pick for him. When this happened, I looked at this guy's numbers, I was shocked. This could be a really bad trade for the Lightning and a good one for the Predators. More on that in a bit. When it comes to other trades, most of them were for depth players, and defenders, like they got Ben Harper from the Leafs and Corby and Holzer from the Ducks, that kind of thing. That was about all when it comes to key mentions. Injury-wise, the only one lingering on the injured list is Dan Hamhuis, and he might even be ready to come back if they decide to play the regular season. Now, some stats I'm going to throw at your face, starting with the special teams. English. The power play, which was supposed to improve greatly, is now 25th in the league. Now you might say, hey, that kind of sucks. It does, but last year they were 31st. So, make use with what you got, I guess. The penalty kill is 29th. That's a big issue. That's really slid. Probably mostly because of some of their goaltending. Wins, they're 18th in the league. Points, they're 20th. Goals for, they're 17th right now. Goals against, they're 18th. Shots against per game, they're 16th in the league. They allow 31.3 shots per game. Face-off win percentage is actually really good. It's 4th in the league right now at 52.3%. Now, of course, I mentioned they fired Laviolette. That was their coach around January 6th there. They were 19-15-7 at that time, but they were in 6th place in their division. They brought in John Hines, which probably like a lot of people I found very peculiar. I think it had mostly to do with some sort of former relationship he had with the GM. There's that. But they did keep the assistant coaches, especially Dan Lambert, the power play specialist from the WHL, and Dan Muse. Now, let's look at some of the players here, starting with the goaltenders. Pekka Rinne. Time to go, you think? Now, he's 37 years old right now, but he'll be 38 in November. He's got one more year on his contract for $5 million. At the time, it was kind of a friendly contract signing, but he's kind of like Henrik Lundqvist at this point. You know, he just hasn't played well this year at all. He's up there in age. The chances of him making a decent rebound, because goalies have bad years, aren't good when you're that old. In 36 games, he had a .895 save percentage. Last year, in 56 games, he had a .918. Season before that, .927. Do they have this uncomfortable conversation with him? Is there a buyout? Is there a trade? I don't think so. Maybe he retires. I don't know. But UC Saros had a pretty good season. In 40 games, he has a .914 save percentage. Now, last year in 31 games, he had a .915. Season before that, in 26 games, he had a .925. So maybe it's not his best, but maybe he's not quite that starting goaltender. Maybe he's meant to be, a platoon guy. And that's where Connor Ingram comes in, to the goaltender they robbed from the Tampa Bay Lightning. That was like a hiccup burp. Now, he's 23 years old. He's 6'1", 200 pounds, and he's got a sparkling save percentage in the AHL over the past few seasons. This season, in 33 games, he had a .933 save percentage in the AHL. Season before that in the AHL in 22 games, .922. Season before that in 35 games, he had a .914 save percentage. This kid seems like he's ready, doesn't he? Maybe he'll be in that... he'll try out for a spot coming next winter or fall or whenever the season resumes for next season. But they've got an issue here with the goaltenders. Now, the defense. Let's talk about that. Their leading scorer and leading defense point getter is Roman Josi right now, the left shot defenseman. He's 29 years old, creeping up there. This team is aging to the point where they've got maybe 3 years to take a whack at the Stanley Cup. Now, in 69 games, he's got 16 goals, 65 points. He's a plus 22. He leads the team in that category. He averages 25-47 ice time per game. That's third in the NHL, behind Doughty. And I should know the other person, but I can't think of him at this moment. Maybe Seth Jones. In any case, second in defenseman points is Ryan Ellis, the right shot defenseman. He's also 29. In 49 games, he's got 8 goals, 38 points. He's a plus 16. He plays those top minutes with Josi mostly, and he averages 23-30 a game. Now, Ekholm sits third with points on the defense. He's also 29 years old. He's got 8 goals and 33 points. He's a -1, averages 23-22 per game. And then fourth on this list is Fabro, their young goaltender, youngest guy in the team right now. He's a right shot defender. In 64 games, he's got 5 goals, only 11 points. He's a -7, averages 1902 per game. He definitely has a higher ceiling, though. Now, when it comes to Fabro, last season, he only had a cup of coffee in 4 games for the team, had 1 goal, was a -1. But he had some pretty good numbers in the NCAA, so that's where you think, in a year or two, he'll get much better. I know they've also, got a few defensemen in the minors who might break into the lineup, especially on that bottom left side, might be up for grabs. And I'm talking about one of either David Ferentz, Alexander Carrier, or Jeremy Davies. The Predators, by the way, on the Hockey News' prospect pool list, rank number 25. Now let's talk about the forwards, shall we? Starting with Forsberg, who has the most points among their forwards. He's the youngest of them. He's 25 years old. He plays mostly left wing, but he can also play center. In 63 games, he's got 21 goals, the most on the team. Ouch. And 48 points. He's a -7, and he averages 17-21 a game. That's a little low, don't you think, for their biggest point getter? Now there's Duchesne, who's in second among forwards. The centerman is 29 years old. He's up there. 66 games. He's got 13 goals, 42 points. What happened? I don't know. He's definitely not playing up to his potential. and he's aging. He's -4. Only plays 16:53 per night. Third on the team in scoring is another centerman, Johansson. He's 27 years old, so he's in his prime, not super old, but he's in 68 games, he's got 14 goals, 36 points, -5, averages 17.03 per night. And then fourth on this list is Nick Benigno, former Pittsburgh Penguin, who's 31 years old, usually plays third-line minutes, sometimes fourth. In 67 games, has 18 goals, not bad, 35 points, +17, the best amongst all forwards, and averages 16.31 per game. Now, special mention here to Craig Smith, who's 31 years old. He'll be a UFA at the end of the season. He's got 18 goals and is a +18. Pretty decent numbers for him. He's been putting up those kind of points and stuff for the last 4 or 5 years, I want to say. And then there's Granlund, who they acquired from Minnesota not long ago. He's got 17 goals. His average ice time is 17:48, which is the most of all the forwards. Funny enough. I found that a really strange stat. Because if you look at a couple of the struggling forwards, one of them being Victor Arvidsson, sometimes he's playing fourth line minutes. Now, he's 26 years old, and in 57 games this year, Arvidsson's got 15 goals, 28 points, and he's a -4. Yeah, remember? He had 34 goals in 58 games last season. 48 points, +12. What happened, man? In the season before that, he had 29 goals. Season before that, he had 31. Something's rotten in Denmark there. And then, of course, another struggling player is Kyle Turris. Ever since, for the most part, he's arrived in Nashville, his point total has completely taken a dive. I don't know if that's been an issue between him and the coaching style of Laviette previously, but he's playing like fourth-line center minutes a lot of the time. In 62 games this season, he had 9 goals, 31 points, -9. Yowzas. Last season, he had, in 55 games, 7 goals, 23 points. Ho-hum. Now, the season he was traded from Ottawa, he played 65 games for the Predators that season. And in total, he had 16 goals and 51 points that season. So not too bad. He was a +22 that first season in Nashville, as opposed to a -3 in Ottawa. +22. So yeah, and then that was the year he also when he went to the playoffs with them. Where am I looking at here? Played 13 games and only had 3 assists and was a -3. I don't know what's up with this guy. Maybe things change under John Hines. I don't know. Now, they also have some young prospects when it comes to the forward group who might be able to help out with some of the offense. And I'm speaking about especially Eli Tolvanen. You've heard his name before. And Yakov Trenin. He's another player who might make it, as well as Rem Pitlick. But really, perhaps maybe they need to go after, sniff into the UFA market, see if they can help someone score again, because that goals for has got to go up. When you're leading scores, a defenseman, albeit an amazing and elite one, you've got to have at least one forward who should be around 60 points at this point in the season. In any case, I'm going to give these guys a C+, because they've somewhat rebounded and are back into the playoffs. What would you grade them? I would love to hear your opinion in the comment section down below, especially you Nashville Predator fans. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And yeah, in this crazy world we're living in, please stay safe. And if you can, stay inside. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.